Stories read aloud by some of Britain's best loved voices.
From Penzance to Paddington,
Cotswolds to the coast.
pop your headphones in and let someone read you somewhere wonderful.
Hello, I'm Naomi Wilkinson. Join me on a journey of discovery as I tell you the story of the Giants of Avon Gorge. Let me begin. The Giants of Avon Gorge. Gorham and Vincent were brothers. They laughed together, challenged one another, offered help when it was needed, and for the most part were like regular siblings. But the main thing that set them apart from any other brothers you might meet is that these brothers were giants. The tallest of trees barely reached above their belts. A herd of sheep was little more than a snack, and between them they could drink the fullest of alehouses dry in under an hour. Life was good, and apart from the odd squabble here and there, the brothers were the best of friends. From meals to stories, they shared everything they had, until they found the one thing they couldn't share: their true love. Over the hill, on the shores of the Great Lake, lived Avona, a strong and beautiful giant who had captured both brothers' hearts. Her plaited long hair was silver like the moon, and her dazzling smile was wider than 10 ox carts in a row. Gorham and Vincent had both fallen for Avona the moment they'd laid eyes on her. Initially, their adoration of the beautiful giant over the hill was good-humoured. Both of them openly declared their fondness for her and compared ideas on how they might win her heart. But predictably, as their feelings grew stronger, their pining became more competitive. Each brother would do all they could to beat their sibling in the presence of Avona. From chopping logs to catching deer, anything that might show their superiority. Both giants jumped at the chance to prove their worth. Avona wasn't blind to their competitive nature. She was fond of both brothers and understood that the rivalry was fueled by their desire to charm her. But Gorham and Vincent were evenly matched, and neither one could beat the other. After months of the two competing head-to-head, Avona, tired of the constant feuding, decided to end the contest for good. One afternoon, when the brothers had finished a particularly enthusiastic bout of wrestling, she presented her proposition. "This tedious rivalry has grown dull," she said. "The more you battle, the smaller you seem to me. I fear that if you continue for much longer, you will both shrink to the size of regular men, unable to attract my affection." Gorham and Vincent both froze, stunned by her words. "I propose one final contest. The victor will win my hand." The brothers paid very close attention. One of them would finally be able to claim Avona's heart, and the never-ending quarrel would be over. "My true love must be the strongest in the land," said Avona, "and there is no greater test of strength that I can think of than to drain the Great Lake." The beautiful giant cast her hand toward the lake at the foot of the hill. "Whichever one of you can move the water from here to the sea will be worthy of my love." After a brief moment of silence, while the enormity of the task sank in, the brothers both leapt towards their backpacks. Struck by the same idea, Gorham and Vincent took their axes and began slamming them into the shore of the lake. Each of them had realised that the quickest way to get the water to the coast was to cut a channel through the land and let the lake flow directly down to the sea. They chopped side by side, eagerly, ferociously, knowing whoever reached the edge of the land first would achieve what they both so deeply desired. Hills, fields, forests and marshes were split apart. Water from the lake chased behind them as if eager to escape the basin it had been trapped in for so long. It sloshed between the two brothers' channels, making one mighty torrent surging through the land. The siblings swung their axes tirelessly, refusing to let the other pull ahead. Their muscles bulged, the sweat poured from their brows, their hearts were beating so loudly that the noise almost drowned out the thud of their chopping as they carved their way through the landscape. Nearing the shoreline, the brothers increased the ferocity of their swings, both believing victory was in sight. But when they finally hacked through to the deep blue of the ocean, it was a dead heat. In disbelief, they stared at one another as the water from the lake flooded past them and into the sea. Gorham grinned as he broke the silence. "Bad luck, brother. It was a close call. I'm afraid to say you lost that one." Vincent sneered at these words. "You must have fallen asleep in exhaustion and dreamed of your victory, dear Gorham. I clearly cut through before you did." With that, the brothers bounded out of the sea and ran. They ran back across every vale and meadow that they had split with their axes. Although neither brother could honestly declare victory, they both knew whichever of them reached Avona first could do so and claim her hand. Once again, the two well-matched giants raced neck and neck towards their goal. The closer they got to Avona's valley, the more physical their battle became. The siblings began to jostle, push and barge their way forward in an attempt to get ahead. Avona waited patiently for their return. The valley had lost a lake but gained a gorge with a mighty river now flowing through it. Witnessing the water drain away, she knew that the race was over and that one of the brothers would be returning to claim her hand. No sooner had this thought crossed her mind than Gorham and Vincent came tumbling over the hill, rolling down into the basin. They continued wrestling and fighting as they came to rest at Avona's feet. "Avona, my love," blurted Vincent as he tried to remove Gorham's arm from his neck. "I am the victor, and I am here to claim my prize." Gorham grabbed Vincent by the hair and pulled him away. "Not on my life! I was the winner. The victory is mine to claim." Both brothers continued to fight, clamouring for her attention. "Stop this immediately!" cried Avona, exhausted by their bickering. "If neither of you can rightly claim victory like honest men, then neither of you shall have it." At this, Gorham and Vincent stopped and looked up at Avona. "In all truthfulness, I am sick of your childish squabbling and would not be happy marrying either of you." With this, she walked out of the valley and continued towards the horizon, leaving the siblings lying in the dirt. The brothers were overcome with rage. They began to trade punches so powerful that they could be heard for miles around. Their battle took its toll on the landscape around them. One of Gorham's stomps left a permanent footprint in the neighbouring valley, and in his rage, Vincent crushed part of the hillside, creating a great cliff next to the gorge. They fought with everything they had left. They fought until their arms were too heavy to lift, until their throats were hoarse and their legs could no longer support them. And when they could fight no more, the brothers sat on the bank of the new river, panting uncontrollably, battered black and blue. "Well fought," spluttered Gorham through a swollen lip. "A real fight for the ages, that one." "Yes, brother, I think it was a draw if you ask me," winced Vincent, revealing his missing teeth. The giants looked at one another sadly, each of them heartbroken. Then, with their last ounce of strength, they both turned from each other and walked off in fury. Vincent stomped off over the hills and was never seen again. Gorham, in a heavy sulk, strode into the estuary and submerged himself in the water. His shoulder and his head formed the two mighty islands of Steepholm and Flatholm in the Bristol Channel, where they remain visible to this very day. Legend has it that when he's rested enough, he will awaken and walk these lands again. So, be careful when you next visit. You don't want to wake him. So, we've just arrived at Bristol Temple Meads. Let's go and see if we can find the giants.